Mrs. Ryan, it's the Tuesday Show. But look at that, the timing's perfect. I made it back. Hello, Mrs. Ryan.
It worked out great. Hello, hello.
That worked out spectacularly well. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Hello. Every time I'm like, we got it. There we go. Hello. Hi, Mrs. Ryan. Welcome back. Hi, everybody else. Welcome back. My name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. This is a good old time in the late night playset. It really is late night playset. We're committed now. We're on podcast networks all over the joint and everything else. Apple, by the way, before we went on the air today, we just got picked up on the Apple networks too. So that's nice. So please, by all means, you can see this on YouTube and listen to it on all the podcast networks. Not all of them, most of them right now. Some of the bigger ones right now, and throughout the week they're all rolling out.
You can find them on podcast networks. I think
now that it's on Apple, I think that's the bigger one because they sort of invented I think they did invent the podcast.
I think you might be
iPod podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with you for that one. Good job.
Oh, okay, thanks. As everyone's, they're congratulating us. Oh, congratulations, you're on the podcast. This has been the easiest part ever. So I'm very happy that everyone else is happy about it. Hopefully you'll listen now.
Here we go.
I don't know, it's weird. I'm not excited about it. I'm certainly excited about it. It's still advancement. It's still a good thing for us. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It doesn't affect me. I don't care. I make a video product.
It doesn't affect you, but I feel like it's another layer that will help expand us a little bit.
All right. Well, that obviously is a good thing. All right. Mrs. Ryan, let's see, get the right card here. Start with that. Out of practice. It's been a long weekend. We're going to talk about that a little bit. What did we do this weekend? Mrs. Ryan, I think we left everybody else going to Breakfast Club. No, we weren't even here on Thursday. That's why we were here on Wednesday. Thursday we had some business stuff. We were dealing with podcasts. Right. We were starting a podcast, everybody.
That'll take a day.
Started a podcast on Thursday. And then, though, Friday we had Breakfast Club, which was lovely. And good old George Puckever is back.
So glad.
Every time we're about to leave, he rolls up, and that's another hour because I just want to talk to him. I genuinely want to talk to him.
So much.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
And then we had, a big weekend. We had the Zuffenhausen event on Sunday, which was huge. Put on, I want to say put on by the St. Gabriel Valley region of the Porsche Club of America, but I don't think that's right. I think they were just held concurrently at the same, I think.
Oh.
I don't know, but all the people, all the volunteers, all the sponsors, all of the organizers who put on the Zuffenhausen event. Great time, beautiful location. It got a little hot, nothing you could do about that. That was the only thing I would say about it. A little hot. Bathrooms were great. The bathrooms at the historic City Hall,
nice.
That was lovely. I would say, water and coffee in the tent that we had asked about and told that would have been more helpful. But huge shout out to Michelle
Cunningham.
That's not right.
I believe it's right. That's what. I'm gonna not talk though.
I would have said Sandow because it's Robbie's last name.
That's her husband, but on Facebook it's.
Well, whatever. If we can fight this out later. Maybe you were right. I'll take
Thanks,
it anyway.
Michelle.
Yeah. I was trying to do a whole nice. But you should do it now. No, you should be the one to do it
I'm
anyway.
just really grateful. Because it's not always often that people go out of their way to make things comfortable for other people.
Yeah.
And Michelle always does that for us. And it's just the nicest, warmest way to spend a day.
It was very nice of her, making sure that you had beverages, coconut waters, even a chair. Brought other chairs over for us. Incredibly generous.
Yeah.
Very thoughtful. So thank you. That brings me to walking. Walking's been a bit of an issue. Walking is going downhill this week. These things go in waves, so I don't think that means that walking is gone permanently. But yeah, motor skills took a dive this week. I noticed that the high pressure, or however it works, but the high temperature pressure system came back. I think that might be low pressure. I'm not sure. That always wreaks havoc on you. Always. Every time the warm front comes in, it always knocks you out.
I see it more with the warm, but it's really the change.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that, and that just throws my whole system out of whack, trying to find equilibrium in inconsistent land of temperatures and pressures.
Yeah. So that one's been tough. So we didn't walk very far from the car at that Zuffenhausen event. I'm sorry for the people we didn't get to see. We're so grateful for the people we did get to see. And then tons of people we didn't know, new people came up to us saying that they loved the show. And it was one of those moments for us where it was like, cool, this is amazing. What we're doing is worth it, and it's hitting, and it just was a sort of an eye-opening moment. And then to make the whole thing even more festive, your brother was in town for the Emmys. Her brother works at The Daily Show. We've talked about him before on the show. Has the dog on the back of the motorcycle riding around New York City that Jessica Seinfeld took a picture of. And stuff. But he works at The Daily Show, so they were out here for the Emmys. And so he rented a motorcycle for the weekend while he was here, and he came out to the Zuffenhausen event.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic, not only just for us to see him, you guys to catch up, but for other people to kind of meet your brother and stuff. It was neat.
And he had a really fun time seeing all the cars. And
oh, good.
He's a automotive guy. Like, that's where we bond over that stuff sometimes. So it was super neat to see him in that place.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last thing I just want to say, and then the rest of the weekend was fine. We did a little bit of recouping for you and stuff. The last thing I want to say is today is September 24th, which is interesting in my history. We've been talking a lot lately about Dave Watch and the microphone story, and 1996 and all that stuff occurred when my dad died. 1996 is when my dad died. Today, September 24th, 2019, he would have been 80 years old today. 80 years old. Isn't that something?
That's pretty awesome.
To me, that's a neat thing.
Happy birthday.
I mean, he died at 56, so it's not like, I didn't get to see up. But 80 years old, it sort of is like a moment of like, holy cow, like I know what people look like when they're 80. My dad would have been, if he had even lived, would have been 80. I mean, that's
a phenomenal feat.
It was a thing to wake up today. And then one of our friends, Real GT3, Phil, from the Pasadena Police Department, but is also a Porsche 911 driver. We saw him at the Zuffenhausen event, and he posted the exact same thing today. His dad has passed away only about 7 years, but today would have been his dad's 80th birthday.
No
same
way.
as me. Yeah, our dads were born on the same day.
That's pretty rad.
Kind of neat.
Hi, Phil.
So, I love you, Dad. That's it. Miss you. This whole thing is, I feel all part of it. My dad and I used to watch Letterman together. And what we're sitting here, is the last version of Letterman that he ever saw.
I do feel him.
He died a couple weeks before this set was changed. So this is the last Letterman he ever saw, and I'm sitting here at this desk. I mean, we're at our home, and it's not exactly the same thing. We're aware of that. It's not a fantasy land up here. But in my own connect the dots history, it's a neat thing. So
that's pretty cool.
I love you, Dad. Happy birthday. I almost said Merry Christmas. And Merry Christmas to you as well, by all means. Happy Halloween. We should probably get on the list. Happy Arbor Day. All right. Mrs. Ryan, that's all I have. Now it's time we brought it up real quick. Oh, jeez. First time I've ever done that. Hit my head. It's time for Dave Watch. Let's get it out of the way.
Dave Watch.
Today is, as I brought up, September 24th. And I'm going to put an X because Mr. Letterman is not sitting there today. However, Mrs. Ryan, is there any new news?
Not proper news.
I'm not expecting any, but we have to do this every day.
Yes.
This is one of those things. We're in the phase now. Steve Mazon, I think, it took him about a year, I think, that phase, or maybe more. We're in the phase now where they're taking a look at us. Our people, our guy is talking to Dave's people, Dave's guy. So there's already a thing. It's going to happen. We're going to keep doing this. This is not going away. Oh, gosh, I forgot. As a matter of fact, we've even built more for it. Look at that. Haven't come up with a theme song for it by any means.
Nice.
But anyway, so this is going on, Dave Watch. The X's shall continue until the circle gets the square. Then Dave Letterman will have won the calendar and the Dave Watch.
Oh, my.
And Hollywood Squares. Mrs. Ryan, gosh, too much talking today. Let us play a quick video. We're only do one East Coast feed. We'll get to the other ones throughout the week. We'll check in with Danbury Chive and Brooke, I believe. Kazman.
All right.
Danbury Chive. East Coast feed. Roll it out.
Yeah, we are. Brooke in the Kazman, East Coast feed, coming to you from the Upper West Side. We just left Long Island. We're doing a little bit of drop-off tonight for a client. Brooke is here. She's wearing a dress, looking all fly. I'm not looking bad either. I'm just saying, it is what it is. Anyway, I want to send some random love to you guys. She already left. From the Big Bad Apple, coming to you live. From Long Island to here. Brooke, you have anything to say, Jay Nicole? She's really not that talkative. And she's tired, in case you didn't know. Anyway, love you guys. Have a great day.
Oh, that guy.
I love them both. He didn't really say what they were there for, but it kind of looked in the background like it might have been a BMW event.
That's what it looked
looked like a
like,
new car, and then there was some signage and stuff. So, and knowing him, I'm sure there were. If there's a launch of a new product or whatever, I'm sure he's there. So.
Yeah, it looks like a nice time.
Yeah, I love both of those. Well, there are some other ones throughout the week we'll get to, and
Let's see what's going on.
one of them is very funny. The other one I haven't seen yet. But okay, Mrs. Ryan, gosh, enough. It is time to ask the question that is on everyone's mind. What's going on, Mrs. Ryan?
If you go to Disneyland, like I used to do a lot, I loved it. They're introducing 400 vegan items across the United States properties. They're going to denote things with a leaf.
Is it just the two? The Disney World and the Disneyland? I know there are Tokyo and Paris and all these other ones in the world.
States, yeah.
So we're talking about Disney World and Disneyland. Mm-hmm. So among those two parks, they're introducing 400 vegan items to their existing menus. Or changing them to vegan.
Adding.
Oh, okay. So additional items.
And there's already some stuff that you can find that's not meat products, but they're specifically not using butter and like animal products.
Wow.
And
full
like,
bore. That's very cool.
Plant-based is what they're calling it since everyone.
You'd find a $20 hot dog at Disneyland instead of the $12.50 one.
This is for people who may not like hot dogs as much. There were some numbers about that.
Just kidding.
But you can find all sorts of stuff now. So, well, next in 2020 they're introducing it in LA.
But they're working on it now.
Yeah, they're starting with it at Walt Disney World in Florida this year. But they're working on it.
So just the one park then.
This year in 2020.
Oh, I see. And then the rollout we'll see.
Yeah.
I feel like Epcot's where you start that. That's where I would do it.
That's a good
Get the adults into it, then the adults say, "Oh, okay, this tastes like that," and then you say, "Oh, okay, well, I like that." So
that's a good.
You know how it works.
I'll call Disney.
Got to educate the educator before the student.
I'll get on that. Tesla has added a charging station at the Nürburgring.
Oh, wow. I mean, of course, right? Especially now. And I'm sure Porsches will be even bigger when they add theirs.
I'm sure it's a thing, and when it's starting
more
a thing.
Faster. Maybe that'll be the new competition, though.
What?
Not necessarily speed and 0 to 60, because like I keep saying over and over, anything can be anything now. It's all software and tuning and whatever. It's all components. So maybe what becomes important is how quickly you charge, how far the mileage, range, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where the new shift in fight goes. Remember, for a long time, iPhones were really cool, and then you get something's faster and it's better camera and whatever. You need something to chase.
I like that. That would be a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, 0 to 60 is fastest is over. I mean, when Magnus was here, we were talking about how important do you think it is for the manufacturer to reach 300 miles an hour? And I was like, wow, I can't even believe it's not to me, but I bet to some people it's wicked important.
Yeah,
wicked important.
Different things are important to different people, I guess. The charging thing makes sense. There was a ton of hubbub, like all the articles I read. There were so many.
Is that what they're going to install? An electric hubbub? Hey-oh.
There's already a ton of hubbub because there's ideas that this was sparked by the Porsche Taycan beating the time or whatever.
Is that how you say it?
I always see the bird in my head, so it's
toucan is the bird.
Toucan is the bird.
Follow my nose; it always knows.
Right. So I say it wrong all the time, and I have to correct myself. It's Tay.
I think it's Taycan, though, is how they say it, right? They're a Taycan.
Who knows? But the electric Porsche one.
Yep. Making all the news.
Kickstarted all and made a ton of news with all how fast it is.
Yep.
Now there's a charging station there. Yep. Whatever. That's what I started with.
For Tesla, not Porsche.
Whatever. It'll soon. A new study replicated there was a big psychological study done in the 70s, and it's pretty famous in that it was about attachment with parents and kids.
Wow, I can't believe you bring this up. I just, I had a big conversation, like a long conversation with somebody, a childhood friend of mine, also from the automotive industry. I don't want to say her name right now.
Yeah,
but somebody
I didn't
that people
know.
could put the pieces together. A famous daughter of a famous automotive person.
Well, okay. I didn't know this was part of that.
No, we had a whole conversation about it. One of the things we relate to is our detachment from our parents.
The study
let us have it,
was
Mrs.
done
Ryan.
in the 1970s, and it was about attachment. The parent would start in a random room with the kid, one kid, one parent. The parent would leave for 2 minutes and come back, and they would see how the kid reacted. It was about secure and non-secure attachment, and that they There's a lot of studies done about it.
This is where we came up with separation anxiety disorder, correct? Wasn't that the study in the 70s that bred that terminology?
Yeah, yes. And it was, instead of, yes, and it looked at a lot of factors, but, who knows what
we've since expanded it to pets and everything else as well, right? Not just humans. I mean, we've since expanded it. The same type of logic and thinking.
Yes. Well, to validate the common sense logic that we've been using, the pop psychology logic of it, they're finding that cats have the same kind of attachment system that adults have and that dogs have. They started this, they reran the experiment with dogs a couple of years ago. They didn't do it with cats until just recently.
Okay.
Cats have a pretty high loyalty barometer for this attachment thing. They're pretty attached. They really look to their owners for a source of attachment, like how the owner is around them and stuff is what they connect to.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
behavior is behavior. I keep saying it, we're all the same. When they talk about, when I was a kid, animals weren't sentient. They weren't treated, fish don't have feelings. Rip that hook right out of their mouth. Like, it always hurt my heart because I was like, that can't be true. It just can't. In what maybe they don't feel how we feel or whatever, but I tell you, I'm one of those Crocodile Dundee people who can kind of talk, an animal whisperer, kind of a Caesar Milan type, but not to one type of
any creature.
Yeah, and it really comes down to me of relatability, of just put yourself there with an open heart, and they're like, oh, you're an animal. You're not a human who's out to conquer.
Yeah. The human animal was like one distinction made a long time ago. Now it's like what kind of animals, and it's like, truthfully, there's not a distinction. We're all energies and beings and stuff. So this study about cats is common sense in that it follows what kids and dogs did, but like,
I see. We already have the roadmap. We just hadn't applied it to this particular species or whatever. Right. That's exactly what I agree. As the world wakes up and all this stuff, we're going to see lots more of that. I believe that trees have, plants react to music and to talking, and it's the slime in Ghostbusters too. You know what I mean? Whether you're putting good stuff out there or bad stuff out there, everything in the world is made of vibration, frequency, energy, etc. All of that can change based on the environment.
Yeah.
So, what you
put out, right? And it's not about what kind of animal it is.
Yeah.
Cats got a bad rap for a while.
Yeah,
but it's like
that's what I believe.
They have a really high percentage of attachment. Like that, it's important to them.
But then some people are like me and Mr. Jinxie's, Robert De Niro from Meet the Fockers or whatever. Just a little too connected with our cats. We loved our cats. I had a dream about the cat last night. I wasn't going to tell any. I wasn't even going to tell you. Now I'm telling everybody. I had a dream about our cat last night, who I talk about all the time. You see her in the credits. Meow Meow, 18 and change. And I had a dream that somehow, this is one of those weird things, how it's getting there. Somehow she got in a pool. Oh, we have a pool, but it wasn't this one, whatever. It was a different pool. She got in the pool, and she's got a bum shoulder just like me, so I rub it all the time in the whole bit, and she really can do less and less these days. And anyway, because she was in the pool, she started to, and her front went down, and I was like, she's not going to, and I had to go save her, and I got her out in the whole thing, and she was fine, but she was terrified in the whole bit. And then, I woke up in sweats and the whole thing. I was like, what the hell's the matter with you? Like my kid,
Yeah.
Like the dreams of saving your kid or whatever. So it's one of those things that lets me know, like, it's time to start preparing. Because, like, you're a little too attached. Speaking of separation anxiety disorder, holy smokes.
Well, lastly.
I'm sorry.
To
told our guests we didn't have much to do today, and now here we go.
We don't. Well, I think she might remember this. 25 years ago marks the anniversary of when Mariah Carey released her Merry Christmas album.
Oh, the famous one?
Yeah, All I Want for Christmas.
Yeah.
The song was on that, but Oh Holy Night, she did like a whole.
So that was 25 years ago?
That was 25 years ago.
1994? Wow. Because that was on this show. She performed that on this. When this stuff was Letterman's in the theater.
Yeah. Well, she's releasing in November a 25th anniversary album.
By the way, that's why I said Merry Christmas to my dad today.
Yeah,
I remembered that the Mariah Carey Christmas album was released on the same day, and we've just always had that inside joke.
It is what it is. I love that song, and there was all the hubbub again of like whether or not it was on the Billboard, like allowed to be in or whatever. Yeah. Now it is.
Well, or under what was it top 40 or holiday? Is that your favorite song? Your favorite Christmas song, Mrs. Ryan?
Probably, yeah.
I don't think you're alone.
I don't think so either, but it literally like warms my heart and makes me smile every time I hear it. Like it's uncontrollable. But she's doing.
I think of what's the movie in England?
Love
Actually as well too. The finale.
They sing it. Yeah. Oh, it's so good, that whole song. But the album's great, and I remember listening to it over and over.
What else is on the album? Is it all just? It's all Christmas music.
It's all she sang like hymns and stuff. A lot of it, and some of it's like Christmas music, but a lot of it's hymn, like "Oh Holy Night" and shit. I used to like listen to and repeat.
Cool.
Yeah. So gear up.
All right. Hey, and that's been What's Going On, Mrs. Ryan? That's good stuff. Mrs. Ryan, it totally occurs to me that while we were talking about the opening and the beginning of the show and everything else, I neglected to mention who our guest is today, which is very unfortunate because we're both excited about it. Mm-hmm. Our guest today is Priyanka. Is it Mattoo?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Interesting person for all of the reasons that you would have a guest on a talk show. However, more than that, Mrs. Ryan used to work with her. They were colleagues. Mrs. Ryan went to college with her at University of Michigan. So and that's as far back, right? You didn't like grow up in the same town or something.
As far as I know, but she's one of those people that pops up in my life.
Yeah, but you've known each other for the full 25 years almost that we were just talking about.
We worked at a coffee shop there together. It's crazy.
In college.
Yeah,
so we're going to talk about all that stuff.
Yeah.
Priyanka Mattoo will be in here in that chair in just a few minutes. We'll be back. More to come right after this. Typical. In that case, though, Mrs. Ryan, we are back with, there we go, Priyanka Mattoo. Yeah.
Great.
Good check, though. Here we are sitting here with Priyanka Mattoo. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. This is crazy.
It's exciting for me to meet you for all of the reasons, like I was saying. However, you guys go back, and I'm almost hoping that that's what this becomes today. So take it away.
Yeah.
Neither of us have like a specific memory.
What year was it?
In college, right?
It was
college. It was like 99, maybe.
Was it before I went to Italy or after?
Ooh,
I think it was before. It was before Starbucks.
It was before
because we were baristas before anyone knew what a barista was.
It was special then.
And even now, people are like, "You know how to use an espresso machine?" I'm like,
it's
"Yeah."
The craziest thing.
It was like 1998. It was 1998.
Okay.
And it's the only time I ever woke up like at 5 a.m. was to like meet you at Kava Java. On what was it? It was called Kava Java. Now I'm sure it's a Starbucks. It must be.
Right.
Or like a Kava Java.
But this is like the campus coffee joint. Is that what we're talking
about
here?
There was a few. Or Caribou was another one that was like central, but ours was
but I've heard of that one. Was that a chain?
That was a chain. Kava Java, there were maybe 2 locations. No, I'm thinking Espresso Royale. We used to have a lot.
Espresso Royale.
There were a lot.
Yeah.
There were a lot. This is Ann Arbor, Michigan, 1998.
You guys both went to University of Michigan.
We did.
You both graduated. Congratulations.
Yeah, we were the same year. You played field hockey? Ice hockey. Wow. Okay. Yes, I remember that. And we just really got along. Everyone else was crazy.
Yes.
Everyone else was crazy. I remember that.
I don't remember anyone else from there.
I worked there, and then I worked at Amir's, and like the entire town was controlled by these like weird schlubby guys. And yeah, it was pretty gross. It was pretty gross. And we always got the good tips. And they were always like, you have to split them at the end of the day. And we're like, no, I don't think so. We're not working this hard.
Yeah, we're the ones making the tips.
Exactly. We're not smiling at people.
You know how early it is.
Yeah, people. We're not smiling at men so that we can share our tips with you now. I'm pretty sure we'd be like, all right, let's like... We had our tricks, but now it's all Starbucks. It's Starbucks as far as the eye can see.
Have you been back? Have you been back to the campus since you graduated?
Yeah, my brother went there. I went there for undergrad and law school, and then my brother went there, and he's much younger than me.
So it's truly an alma mater for you. I mean, this is a thing.
And my parents live in Michigan, so I'm there in Ann Arbor all the time.
You're like a blue-blooded.
Oh yeah. I didn't grow up there. Weirdly, I moved to Michigan when I applied to Michigan when my parents were moving to Michigan. But I say I'm from there because I love it. My husband also shot a movie there one summer, so he lived in Ann Arbor.
What
for a
movie
summer.
was shot that we'll get to? Can we talk about who your husband is?
Yeah.
You've also here's the other small world.
It's weird.
You also
it's
have
bizarre.
worked with. who was not your husband yet, right?
No.
Right. So you.
No, you knew Rodney separately.
I didn't even know
right?
if you were dating yet. Then.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
But this is a
Because
well-known
you met
producer.
Sarah Marshall days, right?
You guys got it.
You met while they were shooting Sarah Marshall.
The junket in Hawaii after they shot it, I think. I might have met him while they were shooting, but we spent time together at the junket.
I remember that because he knew who you were, of course, because of that. But I met him at the premiere, like briefly, and then he like emailed 5 or 6 weeks later. But we have a lot of what happened was so Nicole and I went to college together, and then so many years later,
Did you move? So you stayed there, and because
stayed there
during
for law
high school or
school.
during college, she was interning out here and came out here immediately after college,
Right.
right? So you were still going to law school, and
school,
stuff. So you
yeah.
stayed there.
Yeah,
while she's
and we must
already
have
out
lost touch. It was just harder to keep in touch then.
There was no
other
social
than-
media.
No.
We
here.
were
Right.
in
It was
touch.
even before classmates and stuff.
No, and then
.com.
I became an agent, and I weirdly after law school, and I was at a premiere.
That's a common trajectory, though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it is. There's a lot of lawyers who are just like, this sucks.
Yeah. And skill set wise, they're transferable often.
For sure. It's like the fun part, It's like the fun part
of being an attorney.
It's like it's a fun part of being an attorney.
Closing deals.
Yeah, like I never even I talk about
No
this all the
arbitration.
time.
Just close deals.
Or like hand it off. It's
Right.
like, great, send us the long form and the lawyer will take care of that.
Yeah, just totally.
the best.
You're pulling the
The
curtain
best.
right back.
It's amazing because you're just like here are the deal points.
Yeah.
How much back
That's
end.
all you care about, right? It's
Like,
numbers.
oh no, contract. Like I don't ever want to look at paperwork again.
Numbers game.
It was not fun.
All right, so the husband, I don't know we're jumping around, and that's totally fine too.
Yeah, sorry. The timeline is then when I was an agent, I went to the premiere of, I believe it was I Heart Huckabees. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Schwartzman, yeah.
Yeah, Jason Schwartzman. So I was on Jason Schwartzman's team, I think.
Oh.
And you were his publicist.
Yeah, so were you.
And
And
his PR team, yeah.
Yeah.
and Sharon was like, "Do you know Nicole?" And I was like, "Ah!" It was so bizarre.
Jason
I mean,
Schwartzman, most people think of from probably Rushmore and stuff, but
Yeah.
for me, he's always California,
right.
Phantom
Oh,
Planet,
is he?
the
Yeah.
band, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's good at so many things. I was
Yes.
actually thinking
And
about
Famous
this the
Family.
other day. Yes, I was listening to either Phantom Planet or Coconut Records, and I was like, "Oh, those guys are so good at so many things."
Yeah.
And the sweet, like
They're
the
just
sweetest.
artists across the board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's how we reconnected. It
That
was
was when
crazy.
that
So
was
you
the-
hadn't seen each other since college at that
That
point?
would've been
but now
I didn't
you're-
know
2005.
she was out in
Wow.
California. Like
I didn't know either.
So
no
5
idea.
plus years later.
Yeah.
You run into each other, and then what happens? Did you stay in contact? Or
Yeah,
was it
well,
just
we became friends. I mean, we became friends
We
again.
were
We're
friendly,
hanging
and then
out.
we
Yeah.
had clients like in common. Like I was on teams with teams
Yeah.
she was on, so we were on
Oh,
emails together.
you've mentioned some.
Yeah.
Were you Siegel maybe?
Yep.
That's there.
But
and
Jack
then
Black
Jack
you
Black
mentioned for
was
sure.
there, and like all these people. So we were always in contact.
Yeah, because I was a comedy agent and she worked with a lot of comedy clients. So
Right.
it was weird.
So
how all
you
of a
guys
sudden
would
we're
end
in-
up working together
Absolutely.
on the stuff, campaigns and stuff.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, then we drifted apart again, but here we are.
Well, but you got out of that business too a couple years
Yeah.
ago, and so did you. So
I'm not out of it.
oh, sorry,
Yeah.
same business, but not in the same capacity. You are not
no,
an agent anymore.
I'm not an agent anymore. I haven't been an agent for a while. I was an agent for about 5 years, maybe 4.
But I think of you as a writer director now. You're more of a creative.
Yes, I write and direct now, but there was an interim step where I partnered with Jack Black for a production company, and so we produced together for 5 years.
Okay.
And so I've just been like stepping toward the camera, I say, like for
Was that
15
your
years now.
Dip towards creative, more towards creative.
Yes, I feel like I learned how to develop material. And in that, like learning how to develop material and selling a bunch of pitches, kind of learning how to sell a TV show,
Yeah.
and making scripts better. I realized that I'm a bossy person, and I was getting so hands on. Like
well, now
too
this would explain
hands-on.
why you guys used to be friends.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
It's actually
We're-
on
yeah.
here. What was Mrs. Ryan like?
Very bossy.
Yeah.
We had a lot of overlap, like personality wise. It was. I don't remember anyone
Any of
else. No, never.
Not physical. I
Never,
mean,
never.
Never.
Oh, okay.
No, we were just like, oh, thank
Always
You
God.
guys on the
aligned.
same page.
Aligned on like the speeds that we thought at and how
Yeah.
we thought, and so things happened very quickly with us because we didn't have to do the rigmarole of like, and then on Wednesday, blah blah blah. It
No.
was like we need the You're like, yes or no.
So you guys were you were movers and shakers.
Yeah,
Just
we
getting stuff done.
we were kind of operating at the same speed mentally. I know there must have been other people who worked there, but I don't remember anyone else. It was just me and her.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Me and her in Cabo Java.
That's amazing.
That's all I remember.
There must have been a manager. There must have been other people who worked there.
I don't know.
People liked us. We were a good team.
We always got the best tips.
We always got the best tips. Not that we were the most friendly, by the way.
No, that worked in our favor.
Not at all. It was just like, why are you here?
Trying to buy your kindness.
Oh my God! Do you ever go to class? I remember it was fully just like dudes kept coming by and us being like, "Don't you ever go to class? I don't understand." It was a lot of it worked. It was like negging. It was like all day negging.
Wow,
It worked great.
Yeah, I don't remember that. That's funny.
Okay, so the husband, you worked with each other on Sarah Marshall, and then later, because that was probably a little bit before. You guys ran into each other in 2005. Sarah Marshall was like 7 or 8, something like
2008.
that. 2008. When did you meet your husband? Where did that all?
I met him at the premiere of Forgetting.
Oh, sorry, but so that's I'm sorry.
Yeah, weirdly.
The whole thing's crumbling.
Yeah.
At that point, you realized, I know your husband. Did you put this?
I don't know if we talked after that.
Oh, I see.
Like, we haven't talked in a long time. You went to William Morris. I left that agency. I went to a different one.
So when you said you lost touch at that point, that's been it. There isn't another one to get to.
Once I sort of stopped dealing with clients, once I stopped agenting, our paths didn't cross as much, and I was producing, and then I had a baby. Like, there was just a lot of.
So what was the time period that you were producing with Jack Black?
5 years.
But
when?
Oh, it was like 2009 to 2014.
So there's projects we would know in that time frame?
Yeah, we took a couple of things to Sundance and made a TV show that we loved for Yahoo Screen called Ghost Girls, which I just love.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That actually it was critically acclaimed and nobody
was
watching it. I remember
acclaimed.
that.
It's the best show that nobody's ever seen, I think. But we just had fun. Jack's the best. I mean, as you know, Jack's the nicest, best guy in the world.
Is he?
He really is.
He's
a real decent. He's a decent human being.
I was in Hawaii when they were shooting Tropic Thunder, but we didn't bump into each other.
And the greatest thing about Jack, maybe from your perspective, I'm just guessing here, is like he understands that promoting the work is the work. You know,
really?
Like he loves.
I think he got there. I think it was. I was in a weird time with a lot of those guys where like they were figuring that out, and so it was tricky for a lot of them at first. But like he figured it out. Like we went to Australia together, he and I, for a School of Rock, and he was like, "I just want to see the Matrix." It's out.
No,
like, I don't. And that's what we did. Like he was in that place. Whereas like I've been with other people that really wanted like American Creature Comforts when we were in Europe. They're like, "Can you please find a McDonald's?"
Right.
So it's like I get that side of him.
Yeah.
And he was nice. I laughed loud at a dinner one time, and I know that was not awesome for him.
Story. It's my favorite. I never thought this would come
loudly.
up.
I laughed loudly.
Here we go.
But
what happened?
I don't know. My boss at the time was like, he was not a fan of that.
Really?
Oh yeah, that was that. But I saw him years later, and
God,
he
I'm
was
such a loud laugher.
Who know? I know. You never know what.
You never know what was true,
what it was
where
about.
it was. Yeah, where it came.
So
maybe you were getting
or if
too
your
close.
boss, or
maybe
if your boss was like, "I'm not a fan of that." You just never know.
Or maybe she's getting too close to the client. This was when you were an assistant or a junior back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, they hate that.
Yes.
Yeah,
so you never know what came from where.
Yeah.
When I saw him years later for that Prop 8 video that we did, and he was in it, and Craig was God in it. Like he was so lovely to me. Came over, like gave me a big hug. So I have great memories of that guy.
Yeah.
You had a similar story about Jonah Hill, and when I worked with Jonah Hill a couple years ago, he has had nothing but nice things to say about you.
Yeah, everyone has fond memories.
You married well. She's so awesome. I mean, like nothing but nice things. So
yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to go through. I mean, we've both seen it a lot. It's like hard to watch people get famous. It's not easy.
How do you go through that? Because you sort of helped pick somebody to go, I think you could be famous, and I'm going to help you do it. And then they get famous.
Yeah. Different people approach it in different ways. By the time I entered into like Jonah and Jack and all their lives, Jack was already famous. Jonah was about to be famous. when I was an agent, Superbad was about to come out. Sarah Marshall was about to come out. Polar, I think, had just gotten SNL. You know, so these people were like about to explode.
It was brand new, yeah.
Right, and watching the transition, it's like they were excited that everyone.
With Amy Poehler?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was
one of my first jobs in the business was Conan, and she used to come on all the time because he was brand new.
Yeah.
It had just been started, and he was he was an improv writer guy, so he was having all those people on.
Of course.
So those people were in my world before even America got them.
Right.
So it was kind of neat for me that you would pull her up. She's one of those people I saw become.
Yeah, she was like a part of the community, and she would pop up in like the audience and stuff.
You're exactly. She played Andy Richter's sister.
Yeah,
with the braces. Yes. Okay, and the whole thing, which later became the SNL character. Okay,
yes,
Rick,
Caitlin.
Mm-hmm. That was
for a second.
Andy Richter's.
For a second, and it's hilarious to think of a time when Amy Poehler needed a reel. Mm-hmm. But for a second, like we threw out her reel, and her entire reel was just the Caitlin sketch because it was so perfect.
So good.
It was like, here she is, and everyone's like, yes, she's clearly a genius. I don't remember a time before she was famous, but it must have been.
You guys, if I could compliment
I cut
this
you off
side,
there too. Sorry about
you
that.
guys were always really good at seeing through the chaos of like what wasn't as funny. So that makes perfect sense that you would throw out the old reel of like everyone's trying to make whatever funny versus like this is legitimately funny.
Oh, this is nothing you've ever seen.
You don't need to make this into anything. It's
and that was Sharon. That was 100. I mean, I got trained by her and my old boss Sharon Jackson, who is a super agent. And
where were you? Where were you an agent?
Originally UTA, and then Endeavor, and then WME after the merger, and then I sent my own people. So once I started saying my own people, it was like Kumail Nanjiani was one of my first clients. Kidding. Yeah.
We knew him before he was famous too.
He's the greatest.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I met him super early, like I had seen one joke on YouTube and I was like,
him and his
this
wife,
guy's
right?
hilarious.
Somebody famous
Yeah, she's wonderful too. But Kumail and Ellie Kemper were my first two clients, and they got famous. Yeah. They got famous very quickly. But they
Was it because of The Office?
I just knew they were both just people I knew I could introduce to anybody and they would fall so madly in love. You know, like Ellie, I feel like we just introduced to Mike Schur.
Just the magic face kind of thing.
She's just one of the funniest people I've ever met. She can't help it. She's like a fire hydrant and funny, but she's not a person who really exists in the public sphere. You know, she's like impossible to get a hold of. She like does her work and hangs out with her family. She just had a second baby.
Perfect. That sounds perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
That's what you want.
But that's her relationship with it. But when she shows up, she'll like do what she needs to do.
It's more old school.
Yeah, it's healthy.
How it used to be.
It's healthy, and then there are people who live more online, but people also find their things. Like Jack has been famous for Jack Black has been famous for a long time, and his relationship with like social media was, do I have to tweet? Like, do I have to? I have to? And the answer for a little bit was like, you have to have some presence, but he's found his joy in his YouTube channel now. You know, he like posts these YouTube videos that get like millions and millions of views. He does his own Instagram, which he's great at.
Yep. But those are just him being him.
Just him being him.
Yeah.
And once he figured that out, and there wasn't any agenda that he really had to push, he just had to be him.
Not working.
That was great.
It's very him.
Wow.
Very him.
Not like owned by anyone.
No.
So you had Ellie, and you were working with Craig and Rain at the time from The Office. Did you guys ever cross at The Office or any? You know, because they had so many junkets. That show was big.
We did. By then, they didn't do a lot of junket type stuff.
Really?
Yeah, we were over it. Like the first couple seasons, we did a lot of like press events, but by the end, they were like, it's already sold.
Yeah.
Go to town.
When we did Ellie's deal for The Office, she was series regular number 18.
Whoa.
I don't even remember her from the show.
No.
I had no idea it was that. I never watched that show.
If
I
you
liked
watch
the Ricky Gervais one.
Yeah, if you watch like a highlight reel of hers, you're like, oh my gosh, she was amazing. But like, she's one. How do they find time for everyone every week? I don't know.
Everyone on the cast that I knew on the show loved her. Like talked about her constantly.
She's a dream.
And that how great she was. But like, I never really spent time with her.
I don't care about her. I was just you guys on the show. If you'd ever crossed paths,
because of that, we didn't. No.
Yeah, but also because she didn't. She didn't have a publicist at the time. She didn't need one. I just I was like, I got everyone their first jobs and then I checked out.
No interest, not interesting anymore, right?
I quit my job. I was like, great, you're fine, bye.
Yep.
It got me the credibility that I needed. I still will see people, do a stand-up show and email former colleagues and be like, sign this person.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
rarely.
Awesome.
That's awesome of you.
Yeah, of course.
Rarely because there's not that much talent out there, or rarely
there's so much talent out there, but I don't respond to much.
Good for you.
Maybe a couple times a year I go, God, this person's a star.
Do you still go to like comedy shows and stuff?
I don't because they're at night.
Oh, good for you. Are you a morning person?
No, I just have children.
Oh, yeah.
I am a night person with children. So I just make myself go to sleep at 9:30 because they're up at anywhere between 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So
that's one time we get up. I like
They're
that.
little. How old are they now?
Yeah, my son is 5.5 and my baby girl turns 1 in a few days.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
Holy smokes.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Bravo. I mean, whatever you say, I don't know.
Bravo.
Sometimes it's too much. I don't know. Good for you.
Did it.
Happy for you. You look great.
She's
whatever
great.
you say.
Thank you. Yeah. I can't really believe it. I look at them and I'm just like.
Were kids always in the cards for you? Did you always want to be a mom?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you just always wanted to do everything because you
I
wanted to, I mean, you want to be a lawyer and then you took that to be an agent successfully.
I was pre-med. I want to do everything. Like I really wanted to do
Did you double
everything.
major? Is that how you did all that?
No, I was pre-med and then I got tired of it. It wasn't even that. It was just like, can I really devote the rest of my life to this one thing? Or do I want to explore 100 other things? Okay, let me continue on like liberal arts path, do some reading and writing, and see where that takes me.
Did you then find that the liberal arts path was more stimulating for you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I find the same thing.
Yeah, because when you're a good student, you don't know. You just get A's in everything.
I was never a good student because I was always focusing on this shit.
Oh, but you always knew that this is what you were interested in. I kind of didn't know because I was like, well, I have an A in Calc 2, and I have an A in English. So like, what is my path? Yeah, like where do I go
F's
now?
in all of those, and all of my A's were in anything arts,
that's
from
really
art
helpful
to public speaking,
because
band,
it focuses
all of that
you.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
I was not focused. I still am not focused because I like
really?
to try everything. Yeah.
Apparently, Michigan's a really expensive playground for unfocused
There's a lot of lead in their water.
You know what it is? It's that it attracts a well-rounded student. Like everyone I met was like, yeah, I played a sport, and like I had friends, and I got pretty good. Yeah, it was a type of kid. And we're all kind of it's why we gravitate. I mean, have you ever been in a room where people said Michigan, and then people like scream across the room and are like, "Go blue!" I like seek them out. Yeah. I can hear it from like a mile away. And
really?
I'm like, who's that
it's
Michigan?
It's a frequency for you.
Yeah.
Well, Barry's like that too. Barry Watson. Do you know Barry Watson?
No.
He's an actor.
I'm sure I'd love him. Is he from Michigan?
Yeah. Yes, he lives there now, actually. But
he lives there, but I walked up to it. He had a U of M plate on one time. I'm like, I'm so sorry to ask you. And he thought it was because he was an actor.
Right.
It's fine. He was in Malibu. Fair. But like, I was like, did you go to U of M?
Yeah.
He's so beautiful. And it's like, we were rated the ugliest campus for years.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh.
You were voted the ugliest campus for years?
That's not
nice. For like recruitment. It was horrible, like ranking. For recruitment. It was all around that time. Anyway, I was like, you're too pretty
Hot
to
or
have
not,
gone
wasn't
there.
That the website? Is she hot or not way back when? Awful. Now it's swipe left or right, and it's everywhere.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to... Everyone had an amazing personality. Like a lot of great personalities. I don't know. I mean, I thought our friends were attractive, but I guess it wasn't. Nobody led with like, "I'm so hot." Like, what is that? What is that?
I don't think I'd want to go to that school.
Those are like
you're hot when
schools.
You weren't in a sorority, were you?
Oh, no, I wasn't.
Good for you. You seem too smart for that shit. Whoops, Daisy.
So
do you, but you did it.
I followed my friend there, and I had a parking spot and really early hockey practice.
Because you were
honestly, that makes sense. It was an angle for you.
It's more of an East Coast thing.
I'm from Connecticut.
But like with the people, there's like a huge swath of people from like the tri-state area that come to Michigan, and the Greek system is made up of a lot of East Coast.
A lot of East Coast, like Michigan, like East Coast, New York, like city,
like Westchester, Rockland. I don't know, but it didn't even occur to me the Greek system didn't exist. It did. We coexisted, but it wasn't. It's such a giant school. It's such a giant school, and it's just a small part of.
My mind was blown when somebody told me that they were all linked throughout the different schools. Like what? Like Phi Beta Kappa or whatever is the same at wherever. I was like,
you're wrong.
You have this all backwards. Like, no, that's not true. I don't know. I didn't go to college, so I don't understand any of the stuff you guys are talking about.
You don't need to. I don't really need to. We're all here, aren't we? We're all here.
We all made it.
You know what I hope works in our favor, though, is that did you happen to overhear the stuff we're trying to get David Letterman as a guest on the show and everything?
Oh, that's exciting.
It is, and we're making pretty good progress, but Dave's got one guy. We've got one guy, and Dave's got one guy, and they're talking, but Dave's guy also went to U of M. Just saying, you never know. Some people don't care at all. Some people care.
We try harder.
There's a very tight part of that network that doesn't make sense because it's not anything we talk about or that they sell or.
My experience is if you put it out there, you're willing to do something with it. If you put it, you know what I mean? If it's on your LinkedIn and your social and all this stuff, blah, 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 then they're saying you can contact me if. Otherwise, they wouldn't put it out there.
No, absolutely. I think so. And there's something about like our like shared fondness for our time there that it like triggers something in our brains where we're like, oh, talking to you gives me a happy feeling.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's all. It's just that shared connection for some people.
We were happy. I mean, I certainly have friends who didn't enjoy it as much as I did. But
what the hell is it about it? What the hell is it about Michigan? Is it
good
that
people.
beautiful?
That's good people.
It's the people.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough to make me go
met some
anywhere.
really great people when I was there.
Yeah.
Just like good, well-rounded, like.
You're good and well-rounded. Do
Thanks.
you intentionally put off good vibes? Like, are you trying
No.
to? That's just who you are. You know what I mean?
I moved a lot growing up, so I just am like, I'm here. I'm here. We're friends.
Awesome, though. That's so great.
Like we're all connected.
Are you good with
We're
animals?
human
Do animals?
No, I'm not. I'm not bad with it. I'm neutral.
If you apply, well, do animals like you? I guess
Yes,
maybe is
they
a better
do.
question.
Animals like me. I
Yep.
never quite know what to do.
But
It's like
that's
how
it.
people
It's
are
the
with
same
kids.
thing. She comes in and she goes, "Oh, okay, here we are."
Like
Yeah.
here we are.
It's like
we're all people.
We're all Melissa Villasenor. If you acknowledge it and you just be weird and whatever, everything else sort of falls into place.
If I'd been more present in my actual life, like through the time that we knew each other, I probably would have tried harder to be friends with you. But like I was just caught up in the business part.
Well, it's also.
But I'm glad we were.
I think that once you turn your back on what you're doing in the business, it's not. You're just like keep moving forward. You know, like I don't need to dip back in and like hang out with my ex colleagues. Like it's not.
You asked her. You say, "Oh, have you had any previous clients on the show or whatever?" We're kind of like,
No.
I don't think so.
No, maybe someday.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we're the
know.
same. We're the same.
especially when you work in an industry that tells you over and over again that you can't like exist outside of it. It's nice to exist outside of it.
I fully agree with that,
Yeah.
especially inside and outside of it. It's a nice little gray area between the lines. You are a fantastic guest today, but you are now a host as well,
Oh my gosh.
right? On your pod. Can you tell me, you not only started a podcast, you started a podcast network? Is that
I
right?
started a podcast network.
Okay.
I mostly write. That's how I make my money. I wrote and directed a short film a few years ago that I sold as a TV show to Amazon. It did a bunch of festivals. I went to Cannes, I went to Outfest, I went to Atlanta, and that was sort of my I can do this. Does anyone want to represent me? So
it's my here's my calling card.
yeah,
right?
yeah. So that got me my first like pilot deal, and while I was waiting for that deal to close, which took 1 year. It took 1 year for that deal to close. I got pregnant,
Oh,
had a baby, and also my two friends, Amanda and Maria, who I produced they created Ghost Girls, and so
Okay.
I had produced for them for many years, and I just kind of support whatever they do. I think they have wonderful ideas, and they're great girls. And they had been podcasting for a long time. I had no background in it, and they said we would love to start our own network. There aren't that many hosts. There aren't that many shows that are hosted by women, and we think we could come up with a really great slate. How do we do that? And having sort of built something out of nothing a few times and enjoying it, whether it was a production company or like a client list, I said I think we can do. I don't know. Let's figure it out. It's like building a development slate, right? It's like hearing ideas, deciding what
creating
you
one way
want
or
to
the other.
develop,
Yep.
figuring out how much it's going to cost, if anything, and let's do that. So we started meeting with people, and we registered the name, and we started Kickstarter just to get us enough development money for the first year. And now we have an ad sales partner who sort of floats us our overhead in exchange for ad sales.
it's fantastic.
And we have a slate of 12 shows.
Wow.
Yeah, some of them are, names. Like we have a Margaret Cho interview show. We have a Leslie Feist, the musician, did an 8-part series with us. That was really cool.
Is this a physical location, or people just produce wherever
We
and
have
then
a
it's a
studio in Hollywood.
Okay.
It's just a little office that's decked out. It's adorable and lovely and really cozy. And people have actually said, like when guests come in, they go, "Can we record here? Can we record our own stuff here?" And so we're starting to kind of do that for friends. But
This is a model we've looked into as well, because
Yeah.
I also have many ideas, and there is, like you mentioned earlier, no shortage of talent out there
Yeah.
willing to do podcasts.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, oh, well, because this can't stay here for much longer.
Right.
We need to move to a space. And we were thinking, well, one of the ways to justify that space would be, we'll build our little set, but then
Yeah.
we build an auxiliary, sort of more generic, changeable, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, and then use the space and produce the shows and create an old school network,
yeah,
like on YouTube or wherever.
it's not that hard.
No, but that's kind of it. We were thinking about it, thinking like, boy, would that work? I think it would. We've got
Yeah.
a lot of wholesome type programming that we want to create.
Also, just try. Just try. Things are less expensive than they used to be.
know.
Rent is rent, but there are places in Hollywood that are renting for not that much.
Yeah.
And we found a great deal, and our overhead is really a couple of editors, a freelance producer who pops in every once in a while, cover art, theme songs.
Yeah, stuff like that.
But ultimately, people just want to be a part of it, So,
that's
we're just
the part
growing.
where we're in. People like whatever this is, and they all want to get on board.
Yeah.
We just can't figure out what the structure is going to be.
Right. Yeah.
So I took that off of you and made it about us just because it was so relevant.
But it's exactly like I like to encourage people to start companies. I mean, also if it fails, who cares? Like you tried it, you learned something, and
Agreed
you move
with
on.
that. I fully agree with that.
Not that I mean, certainly the few weeks before we launched, I wasn't sleeping, and my husband was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "What if we?" And he's like, "Well, you've never done that before, so."
Yeah.
Like
we're not afraid to fail anymore.
Yeah.
Once you've lost your health and everything, everything else goes away. It's one of those things where
perspective.
Yeah. You're just kind of like, and what?
Yeah. Right. What are you
more
going to do?
important?
Yeah. Like being embarrassed. Who cares?
That what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
No, yeah, I don't know. There's something about like having given birth to 2 children where I'm like, oh.
I was fine before, but now really.
Now whatever, really whatever. Put anything out there. I don't care.
So it's a female-centric podcast network named
Earios.
Mm-hmm.
It was a placeholder, and then we stuck with it. I was like, it's available. We got it. I'm a doer.
It's ARIOS?
EARIOS.
Oh, that E is part of the, it looked like part of the logo.
It's Earios.
Okay.
We, I'm a real doer. The girls were like, well, we're workshopping some other names. And I was like, I already registered it as an LLC.
Yeah.
We have the website. We have here it is. And we're moving forward.
It's go time.
We have a tax ID number. So
this is it.
Don't come to me with your idea if you're not willing to move forward. I don't have the time for thinking.
I wouldn't focus group the name at this point is all I'm saying.
Oh, it is so nice to hear my thoughts out of someone else's mouth.
They're just like, is it too much like? I'm like, shh. No. We did it. Guys, we did it.
What was Mrs. Ryan like? You said before that she was, what did you say, bossy?
Just a big smile, just like totally in control. She was an athlete, so she was like, I don't know. I just remember like a curly ponytail, a big smile, just kind of she just was in control of her environment in a way that I found sort of familiar and comforting. And I was like, oh, this is like, we're going to be friends. We knew right away. We knew day one. You were there for a little while before I started.
Where?
I think at Kava Java.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
She had already been there, and I don't know.
I knew the lay of the land,
That's
and
so
like
funny.
you, I picked up on things really quickly.
Yeah.
I was thinking more on the lines of in the business, but that's hysterical that you
No,
guys
Kava
really,
Java.
it seems
But
like the
same
bond
thing.
is back
you
to
are
them.
You are that person forever. Like nobody's changed.
That's interesting.
She hasn't changed. I haven't changed. We're exactly the same.
Isn't that interesting?
We were 18.
Do you,
18,
Mrs. Ryan, think that you are more similar now to the Kava Java days than you were, say, 10 years ago when you guys were working together in the industry?
Yeah.
I
I definitely
would agree.
have gone back to
Interesting.
who I was in college more so than who I tried to be in my professional life.
I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why you're coming out of your shell these days.
I think so
And
too.
becoming more real, and whatever the facade that we all create when you come out here to be whatever you want to be. And all
Well, there's
that
just so
bullshit.
much I realized of like how I dressed, and like all of it was to impress certain people. And so, especially talking with you even briefly, I was like, I'm not crazy. Like that was nuts. And
It was
like
nuts.
I just had to, once I could own that my professional life was a little crazy and that I got a little crazy in it. Fine, I can let it go. I can accept it.
Yeah, your world can become very, very small. And it's not just like entertainment in of itself is such a bubble, and then comedy is like a tiny little community. It's that big, and most of it is wonderful, and it's so
the most
great.
crazy incestuous community too. Everybody knows everything.
Everybody knows everything, and everybody knows everybody, and it's wonderful to be in. But you have to like check in with yourself every once in a while to be like, am I doing this because I want to, or because
Am I into
I feel like I need to, or because
the peer circle starts, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're in the thing. Just don't get caught up in that. Becomes part of it.
There was a thing that I always got in trouble for, which was I couldn't like cheerfully be on teams of like actors I didn't believe in.
Oh, you mean honesty was in your way?
Like I'm sure Nicole dealt with a lot as well, because they were like, "We need you on this team. We just need the support, and you're." I was good at my job.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think he's funny. I can't do it. Or like, I think he's a moron.
Yep.
I can't do it. And they were like, just for like a week. And then, I mean, within a week, it would be like, the manager never wants to talk to you again.
Yeah.
Ever. And I was like, thank you, goodbye. Like,
Success. I told you.
She thinks that you talked to her like she's a moron. I was like,
she's a moron.
I cannot fake it. But it was a good thing because when I signed people and I was so excited about them, I would take it,
I find that people know from my
your credibility.
Yeah, I think people read my credibility off me, and like I tried to hide that. I became like a wall of nothing for so long, so I
make
could
everybody happy.
Whatever I was really feeling, which is a lot of times, you are a moron and you're not funny, and everyone thinks you're funny, and now everyone thinks they're so smart.
I know the truth.
Yeah,
everyone thinks they're super brilliant because they have an iPhone. It's like I've actually lived that and done that, so I'm not interested in the superficiality of entertainment that you're finding out of a murder show. It's like we've done that, like all of the entertainment business.
Your job especially is to control the public image, you know, which is just like. Woo, talk about like handing off the paperwork. It's like, do something.
You guys
do something.
Love that part.
Good luck with all
Control this. Do something. Oh man.
Wow. Yeah. So it sounds like you don't regret getting out of that part.
No, I'm glad it happened. I still have super strong relationships in it, which helped me now.
Well, of course.
I got out of there, I think, with mostly like good feelings. Yeah. So that was great. I can't think of anyone like I have like
Do you ever work with your husband professionally?
No.
Is that intentional?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 reasons.
I'm asking for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
We've made that choice too.
We're super independent. He would happily work on everything together. He likes to be around people.
Oh.
I like to work on my own. I like to like sit in my room and work by myself. We like the same things.
Are you an only child? Did we talk about that?
No, I'm a big sister by like a lot.
By like a lot.
Yeah, my brother is almost 6 years younger than me.
60?
6 years younger than me.
It's not that much.
It's like enough that I felt like an only child.
Kaz and his brother are like 17 years apart, aren't they?
That's a lot. But that's like a half situation because no woman, unless she 20 and then 37.
Same.
Amazing.
It's a weird one.
That is, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, your
My friend Sarah did that. She has like older sons, and then she was like, I want a girl. And I was like, what if? And she was like, I'll try. And now she has a baby girl. The guy I'm talking about
is the feed from the beginning of the show that you heard.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the brother. Oh, you'll see the brother tomorrow. Anyway, I'm sorry I took that away from you again.
No, that's crazy. I just need to always be like led back to what was I talking about?
I was asking why not with your husband. He would because he's very
amazing. He's amazing.
But you're better off in your own.
No. It's not just that though, and I don't know if we've ever really talked about this, but because he's so good, he's a brilliant guy. I'm not gonna say it's why I married him, but it's a big part of. I just loved his brain. He's like a great writer. He's a great producer. We were both very intellectually attracted to each other. And then we knew that the rest would fall into place. Well, but he also writes and produces and directs, and he started when he was a child. Like he
really,
yeah. He wrote on Letterman when he was 21. Yeah,
I never knew that. Mm-hmm. The first time his name has ever come into my life is because you've talked about him from having worked with him on Sarah Marshall.
I didn't remember the Letterman stuff. Is
he from the East Coast?
Yeah, he's a New Yorker. So he wrote on He got hired on Letterman when he was 21. He applied to be a writer and applied to be an intern at the same time, and he got rejected from the internship program.
Janice Pinino
and hired as by like two totally different.
Yeah, of course.
People. And then he was head writer when he was like 23.
Head writer.
At
Letterman? He ran a show. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
At what time frame in the 80s, 90s? Where were we? You said 21.
Oh gosh, when he was 24.
When
we were a Kava Java, probably.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
so this time. So your husband probably worked on this stuff. He was the head writer.
Maybe 97, 98.
Oh, okay, maybe a little
98.
Right after.
We were there. Yeah. 98, yeah.
Wow, that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, so he like this is what he does. And I think it was very important to me.
But do you know my connection with Letterman? And do you know how deep it goes and why? Oh, okay. Well, she'll send you some.
I want to hear it.
I have a feeling your husband may be into it. From a nerd, from a creative
I would love to hear
he might be into it.
I wanted to
you may have more information than I do.
I think once I started writing, it was super important to me to know that I could do it on my own.
Yes.
And so the stuff I sold, the first few things I sold or published, he didn't see until they were sold.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't even see. You didn't want his polish or anything.
I just was kind of like, let's see how this goes.
I love you. I love you for that.
Well,
so many people, help me. And you're like, let me just see if I can do it.
Let me just see.
I agree with you.
I needed the confidence that I could, because of course I could hand anything to him and he could rework it and make it brilliant because he's been doing it for his whole career. But
you just touched on something that it was for me for a long time, though. I didn't have the confidence to take it out. I had the confidence to try it in and get it to work and prove my own concept and blah, 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 and then take it out. Was it confidence for you, or was it solely just, I want to stand on my own 2 feet with this like I always have?
I kind of just needed to go through it myself. Yeah. And now he reads it, like once I'm done with a draft or whatever, he'll look at it.
But solely professionally speaking to assist. Gosh, that's so great. Are you liking what you're doing? Are you happy with where you're?
I love it. I love writing. I love directing. The problem is I have to write to direct, so I just like keep writing. Oh yeah. No, I love it. I love it. All I want is more time to write.
Your life sounds fantastic. That's why I'm asking. Are you enjoying it?
I am. I'm really, I am enjoying it.
That thing I said before, good vibes, you do emanate good vibes. But part of that may be a little bit of, and I hate to be so trite, but there seems to be without saying it, somehow you have a very good air of gratitude without being like, I'm so grateful.
I'm very grateful.
And you do a great job of putting that out there without saying it. I have to hashtag it and let people know.
I lived a crazy life. Like I'm an immigrant. Like I wrote an op-ed for the New York Times a couple weeks ago about
buried the lead immigrant on late night playset. Just kidding.
It's a great article
about this stuff. Like I was born in Kashmir, which is in the news these days, and our home was there, and it was burned down by militants. And
dear Lord.
We lived in Saudi Arabia during the Gulf War.
Oh my God.
Like everything.
So yeah,
I've owned a gas mask.
It.
Yeah, this is great. This is like totally uneventful.
But that explains
I just like write. I like email editors. It's wonderful.
But that explains it.
Yeah. The stability is so nice.
Do you know what I'm saying? That sometimes it takes going through some crazy shit in order to form you fully as a human?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
so it seems like you might have gotten that earlier on.
I did.
Bravo.
I've been like this since I was 12. I've just been like,
I hope that you are in our lives
fine.
more regularly than just the next 7 or 8 years you guys see each other again.
Yeah.
I'm very fond of you. We should wrap it up about now if you guys are okay with that. I would like to know if people can follow you on social media or any of that stuff, what you have coming up, what's new. It's a segment we call Billboard.
It's called Billboard.
That's what they call it in the business. So I like to pull.
Is that really what they call it?
Yeah,
I should know these things.
So like everything else, like you were talking about, I like pulling the curtain back. I like being like, this is how you do a talk show. None of this is as big as it looks on television. We're in a tiny room in our house,
Right.
So yeah, I'm just pulling it back, and we call it Billboard. For more about this guest.
Oh, hi.
You know what I mean? Like, are you on social media?
Yes. I'm pretty active on Twitter. Yes, it's at Nanking. That's NAANKING. I write a lot. I write a column for Vulture about getting into the comedy business. It's an advice column. And of course, Erios. We have 12 shows. They're all great. Someone the other day was like, "What's your favorite show?" And I was like, "What? What are you talking about? Good luck with that."
How do you answer that?
They're my babies. They're all my babies. They're like a bunch of wonderful weirdos all making shows. It's so great.
Do you think it's okay to be a weirdo?
Yes.
I do too.
It's preferable.
I agree. But non-weirdos, I don't think feel that way.
They just want to blend right in and be like everybody else. And then what?
I don't know. I used to do that. There were the years I was always a weirdo my whole life, and then I came out here and I said I'm going to stay being a weirdo. I'm not going to get caught up in it, and I got caught up in it. Everything we were just talking about a few minutes ago.
Image.
You want to impress, and it's all because you become, dependent on this paycheck or that person or the whatever.
Right.
You have to become something to get what you need, and that's
right.
It's life, but it's accentuated in this business sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I think thankfully I was raised by a mom who, like, my whole family is so eccentric. And my mother was always like, my mother's biggest insult was just like, she's so boring. Like if someone was boring, it was just the worst thing in the world.
Do you remember the movie? American Beauty?
Of course.
There is a segment where the neighbor next door, the weird kid next door, says to the high school sweetheart who claims to be the model and the whole bit, whatever, he says, you're just totally ordinary.
That's what it is.
And it was like the biggest cutting insult you could possibly give this person who wanted to be special. And he's like, you're just regular.
Yeah.
You're just so ordinary.
Absolutely.
And it's like, it was painful to watch because it was so cutting. Because to him, it was the biggest insult.
Yeah. But some people just want that. They just don't want to make any noise.
Blend in.
But then where do they
Silver
find
car.
their joy? I don't know.
That's why I'm asking. I can't find it, but I know that it's, I don't want to say the majority of the world, but I would call it half. I don't know what the percentages are.
Yeah.
How you doing after this? Do you feel okay?
Just thinking. I'm just thinking now about what it's like to be boring. What it must be like. I don't know.
Well, you know what I'm saying, right? You just get the car lease that everybody else does, and you fit into the blind.
But there must be some comfort in that. Mm-hmm. There must be some sort of like human connection. Like I'm hitting all the beats. I'm doing everything right.
When you can check all the boxes, it feels fulfilling. Yes. If that's
and safe.
Until it stops being, and then it's like, how do you fill that?
But you're safe. There's safety in numbers.
Yeah.
You're exactly right about that. You have to be not afraid of what other people think, and not being afraid to say, fuck it. Mm-hmm. And you already have that. Good for you. All right. Wrapping it up. Love you, Mrs. Ryan. Who do we have tomorrow?
Too. Gabe.
Oh, my gosh. This is exciting. All right. One of my all-time favorite guests, who also was a head writer on Letterman.
Oh, my goodness.
At one point, Gabe Abelson.
I wonder if they know each other.
I bet they probably do. That's pretty funny. Well, Gabe Abelson's going to be here tomorrow to hopefully talk Letterman, comedy, and hopefully, I don't want to put it out there, maybe a little bit more mentalism. He did some mentalism last time. That was really fun. I know, like Kreskin. Oh. He knows all that stuff. It's pretty fun.
All those guys.
And then Thursday, finally, the person who probably has more promo for this show than anybody else ever. He's definitely got this thing blown up. Brian Volk Weiss is your old colleague who will be here finally on Thursday after several attempts.
He started Comedy Dynamics.
There you go. You know
produces all the specials.
I remember his name.
Yeah, do you? From management days?
Yeah.
He one time I had to have a wisdom tooth pulled and we had to cancel. And then another time he had like a green light meeting like that happened, it changed the night before the show or something and like take your meeting.
Yeah.
So it's 3 or 4 cancellations and we're finally going to get him in. So
Here we
be excited. Mrs. Wright, I love you so very much. Priyanka, we love you so very much. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for the chat.
Thanks so
Come
much
back
for
anytime,
coming.
but I think more than that, I would love to know you. Thursday's perfect.
I want to meet this mentalist.
I hope that you guys stay connected versus,
nice.
5, 10, 16
Please tell Rodney hello.
I will.
He's one of my favorite humans from a weird part of my life. I'm really grateful to know him.
It's nice to hear,
Very nice boy.
And that's what's going on. So we love everybody. Love one another. See you tomorrow with Gabe Abelson.
Wait, what year was he?
And then something. Good booking, Mrs. I hope you're good.